about loving yourself, about being good to your neighbor. And as I'm sharing these things, something comes flying at me and hits me right on the temple. It was a shoe, okay? Shoes don't fly, right? So I'm looking around for a shoeless child. Finally, I find this kid. And I'm thinking I'm going to call him Shoeless Joe, right? And he is laughing hysterically. He thinks he's hilarious. Now, let me ask you, there's 49 other children between the ages of kindergarten and 6th grade in the room. Do you think they sat there quietly and thought to themselves, oh, Sean, that poor child has lost his way. And I shall sit here quietly as you appropriately discipline him. Do you think they did that, yes or no? No. They acted like a pinball in a tornado, right? They were running around like square pants, right? And I am trying to collect this whole... I was furious. I was so angry. Now let me ask you, there's no legal ramifications against you for this question. But just be honest, if someone threw a shoe at you by a raise of hands, who might at least get the thought of wanting to throw the shoe back? Come on, be honest. Eric, you didn't warn me. You have a very violent college here. So here I am. I am totally angry, frustrated. These kids are going nuts. Finally, the parents start showing up to pick their kids up, one by one, until I am left for an additional 45 minutes with one child. Guess who? I'm pretty sure it was Satan, okay? And so I'm thinking, out of all the kids, right? Finally, the back door of the gymnasium swings open, and this elderly lady comes waddling in. And she says, it's time to go. And he says, I'll see you later, Sean. Scurries out the door. I was upset. I was overwhelmed. Have you ever wanted to connect with somebody, reach out to somebody, help somebody, but they just didn't want your help? That's upsetting. So I headed to my vehicle that was in the parking lot behind the school. And right before I got to my vehicle, I heard a voice behind me. Sean, wait up. I turned around. It was the principal. Sean, how's your class project? How are the students? Oh, they're all a bunch of angels, except for this one child. Oh, Sean, I know who you're talking about. There's something you need to know about that kid. No, I don't. Child's a pain, that's all I know, and that's all I need to know. Well, Sean, what you don't know is just about 2 years ago, that child's father killed that child's mother. And now that father is in prison for life. The mother's gone, and the only living relative to take care of him is his grandmother. And she had to pick up 2 side jobs just to financially support the 2 of them. And when he comes home from school, usually the only babysitter is the television. And when he comes to school for lunch, his lunch is usually just a soda or a candy bar if he's lucky. And I just thought you should know that. By raising hands, anyone want to throw the shoe back? Well, where'd the angry mob go? Where'd the enthusiastic crowd that thought that violence or getting even would be the right thing? Oh, wait a minute. You got another piece to the puzzle in life, didn't you? But how many times in our life do we throw the shoe back? When somebody annoys us, frustrates us, gets on our last nerve, and we want to throw the shoe back at them. But you're leaders now. So you can't afford the luxury of being naive anymore. When people get on our last nerves, when people are doing things that you don't approve of, or saying things or acting in a way that you can't stand, it doesn't mean you have to condone their behavior. But that's when you have to reach inside to find your place of empathy. Because when people do things, they're either doing them out of acts of love or cries for help. And this boy was surely crying for help. He was throwing a shoe at me to say, hey, look at me, Sean. Give me some energy. I need some attention. I'm starved of love. And as leaders, we have to be aware of who around us is starving for love. Who around us needs our support. Who around us needs us to connect with them. You know, even just a smile can save somebody's life. You might think, no way, Sean. I've been a therapist for 10 years. And I've dealt with a lot of suicidal people. And I've heard people say, I was about ready to kill myself. I was walking down the street, and this woman looked at me and smiled in just the warmest way. And I thought maybe there's still a chance that the world is still good. You may think you're not impacting people on this planet. You may think, well, Sean, I'm not a speaker. I don't go around the world talking. You don't need to. Maybe there's somebody you bump into on campus that you could tell just needs a smile, and you smile at them. Maybe they don't even smile back. It doesn't matter. They notice. And things will shift in that person's life, even just on a little bit, that could have a massive change in the course of their future. You are powerful beyond measure. You have an energy to connect with people, to really make people feel important and recognized. And whatever it is that you're craving in life, give it to others, and I promise you it will come back to you. And it may not come back right away. It's like a boomerang. When you throw a boomerang, it takes time for the boomerang to come back to you. And I know you were raised, and so was I, in an instant gratification society where you could just flip on Facebook and hit refresh 100 times in an hour to see if somebody commented on your new relationship status. But listen, no one cares. But listen. We have to realize there's more than instant gratification. There's something called fulfillment, something called feeding your soul, your spirit, your energy. Look, I want you guys to be happy. I want it more than anybody. I don't care how hard classes are right now. I don't care what relationship challenges you're going through, how your health is, what your family's going through, your finances. I just want you to be happy. Because happiness really makes life worth living. I was reading a book that just 2 weeks ago, and it said that making money won't make you happy, but being happy can make you money. By being happy, you can not just make money, but you can make friends, you can make business opportunities, you can get relationships started. You might say to yourself, why am I always single? It's because you look like that. Look, people want to be around people that make them feel good, but it's got to start with us first. And as you take a stand for your happiness, you'll notice that your life will begin to shift. But you're going to have to take some risks in your life. It's not going to be easy. And sometimes when you take a risk, you have a chance of looking bad. You have a chance of being the outcast, standing out. If everybody in this room was sitting down right now, but this gentleman right here, the doctor, right, the professor, you stood up, we'd all be like, whoa, this guy's got something to say, right? Because he would take a stand. We'd also be like, is he going to make us do something? He would be in charge because he took a stand. He would also stick out. Same thing in your life. If you take a stand, you're going to stand out, and that's okay. It's going to take some risk, and there's two kinds of risks, because you've had a lot of propaganda, you've had a lot of people come into your life to tell you about the negative risks, right? I mean, all the propaganda about saying no to drugs, about don't drink and drive, that's all important, but that's discussions of negative risks. You may not be aware of the positive risks. You may not be aware that there's another element to risk. And a risk is just doing something that scares you. But a negative risk could scare you to death, and a positive risk could scare you to life. And positive risks are amazing because you don't know how they're going to turn out. Just like a negative risk. If you take a negative risk, if you do something stupid with your life, you may survive. Or you might die, you might get injured, you might go to jail, but with a positive risk, you don't know the outcome either. It might end really well, or you might look like a fool. But your life will still move forward without a consequence. That's what a positive risk is. When you take a positive risk, it will scare you no matter what the outcome, but you will gain courage from taking that risk. I'll give you an example of a positive risk that I took when I was in college. I was on a date, and we're watching a movie at the theater. And the movie ends, and we go outside, and we're supposed to go to dinner across the street. Except it's pouring down rain. And we're not just talking little bitty rain, we're talking big, fat Forrest Gump rain, and it is splashing everywhere. And I look at this girl, I'm like, okay, let's run through this rain. She goes, we don't have an umbrella. I'm like, no, we don't. So what? Sean, if I go out there without an umbrella, my hair's getting wet. Right away, I knew I was dating a genius, right? And I said, your hair gets wet, so what? Big deal. If my hair gets wet, people are gonna stare at me. And I said, sweetie, at the time I think I was like 21, I said, sweetie, you're standing next to a 3-foot-tall, 21-year-old man in a wheelchair. They ain't looking at you. She said, I can't do it. I'm not going. I am not going to get my hair wet. So I pulled out my best game, okay? I pulled out my good stuff. I said, time out. Gentlemen in the room, you might want to write this one down. I said, time out. Let's imagine that 25 years have gone by. And maybe we're not even in touch anymore. I'm on one side of the planet, you're on the other. But we think back to a moment when we got right out of that movie theater and ran in that rain. We got totally drenched and we looked deep into each other's eyes and we laughed. Wouldn't that be a memory you would be willing to create right now? She looks at me and she goes, no. I am like, that was my best stuff. And in that moment, I thought I was shot down. No. I had taken a positive risk, and I had gained a learning lesson. A lesson that changed my life forever. I realized in that moment that, first of all, I never wanted to be with a woman who wasn't willing to run in the rain. Both literally and metaphorically. And then not just that, let me just broaden the circle here. I didn't want to surround myself with people who weren't willing to run in the rain. Who weren't willing to play, weren't willing to be fully expressed. Take positive risks with your life. If you see somebody new that's just kind of wandering around, maybe they're at this campus, or maybe they're someday in the future at a job that you're at, or whatever it is, and you can tell they're lost, go right up to them and say, hi, and introduce yourself and say, hi, here, if you ever need anything, let me know. Take that positive risk. You don't know who that person's going to be. You don't know how they could help you in your life. They could be your future best friend, your future husband or wife, business partner. You don't know. Maybe they have no impact on your life, but you have an impact on theirs. You need to take positive risks with your life because that's what makes life worth living.